Highly respected, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Bima Muhammad Enagi. I represent the people of Niger South from Niger State. I rise to lead the debate on a bill for an act to amend to establish the National Shea Development Council. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to lead the debate on this very important bill, which was read the first time in this hallowed chamber on 6 November 2019. The bill seeks to establish the National Shea Development Council to provide guidance on the entire shea sector for the restoration of the degraded shea parklands, including off-reserve forests, the establishment of more shea parklands across the shea belt, promotion of the shea value chain, job creation and empowerment of rural women in Nigeria. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Nigeria is blessed with abundant natural resources, including a number of cash crops. These include cassava, cashew, shear, cotton, cocoa, oil palm, rubber, among others. The value chains of these crops, if developed, can guarantee a lot of employment. Of all these crops, the shea tree has been one of the most neglected. The shea tree, known as Vitalavia paradoxa, is an important economic tree that plays a vital role as a sustainable means of livelihood for thousands of households across 22 states in Nigeria, with over 3 million rural women engaged in shea business. Nigeria is at present responsible for 62%, approximately 370,000 million tons per annum of global shea nut production, estimated at 600,000 million tons. Nigeria today is not just the leading producer of raw shea nuts globally, but also the nation with the largest stock of shea tree in parklands. The shea sector, with the proper organization and investment, can support government effort to diversify the economy. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the different parts of this tree are usually used in various industries for several products. The wood of the shea tree has some benefits. The roots and bark are used as an alternative medicine as well as pesticides in crop production. In spite of the several raw components of the shea tree used for different applications, its agronomy, production, processing, and handling are still not properly developed and organized to fully harness the value chain. The establishment of a National Shea Development Council will provide the needed roadmap in harnessing the immense economic value of the entire shea tree, especially with a dedicated Shea Research Institute as part of the components of the proposed Shea Council. Furthermore, shea butter is called women's gold in West Africa, as it provides a sustainable source of revenue for rural women to support their households with food, medicine, clothing, and education. Shea butter, especially the Nigerian grade, is in high demand on the international market. The council, when established, will encourage and enforce pre-export shea value addition to create decent jobs and support women in various shea clusters across the country. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, the present global annual demand for shea is valued at about $4 billion and is projected to be over $10 billion by the year 2030. The main benefits of shea to Nigeria include foreign exchange earnings, women empowerment, source of income generation, wealth creation, enhancement of lives, food security, employment generation, rural infrastructural development, industrialization, reduction of deforestation and forest degradation, reduction in carbon emission and climate change mitigation. The traditional manual method still dominates, which is passed down from generation to generation. The method is time-consuming, physically exhausting, and extremely labor-intensive, requiring large quantities of water and fuel wood, often carried from long distances. Technology must therefore be brought into the business. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it is instructive to note that the National Shea Development Council will bring immense development to communities engaged in the shea sector. The bill contains 18 clauses with a schedule. Clause 1 to 5 deals with the establishment, objectives, and functions of the Council. Clauses 6 and 7 provides for appointment of staff and pension matters, while clauses 8 to 10 contains provisions for funds of the Council, powers to accept gifts, borrow and invest the funds of the Council. The functions of the Council will include drawing policy guidelines and programs of the shea sector development, developing shea parklands, and monitor landscape restoration across the shea belt in the country. Establish a dedicated shea research institute for shea research and development, advise on adaptation of machinery and processes for the shea value chain, domesticate the entire shea value chain by encouraging and enforcing pre-export shea value addition to create more jobs, support rural women clusters engaged in shea business in Nigeria, and advise on any other matter which is aimed at enhancing the objectives of the Council. Conclusion. Finally, Mr. President, my highly respected, distinguished colleagues, I urge you to give your support to this bill as it will bring immense development to communities actively engaged in the shea sector. This is the time to look forward to an era of prosperity which will in turn result in the economic development of this nation. The passage of this bill will once again display commitment of this Senate towards repositioning the entire shea sector for restoration of degraded shea parkland across the shea belt, creation of new belts, promotion of the shea value chain, increased foreign exchange earnings, employment generation, rural infrastructural development, revenue mobilization and generation, climate change mitigation for the empowerment of rural women in Nigeria. In accordance with Order 77.3 of our standing rules, the estimated capital and recurrent expenditure for the first 12 months is hereby attached. I implore you, Mr. President, my highly respected distinguished colleagues, to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, Jigawa Northeast. Mr. President, I rise to lend my support to this bill on the establishment of the National Shea Development Council, ably explained by my distinguished colleague. Mr. President, outside the obvious benefits in terms of diversifying our non-oil export, I think the issue of shea butter production in Nigeria is a case study of one of the many products where we have immense potential, but for one reason or the other, we have neglected it to the detriment of the local producers. Mr. President, just like the lead speaker said, Nigeria is the leading producer of shea butter in the world. But what is interesting is that there's actually a slight decline in production over the last 5 years. And this is not unconnected with the quality of shea butter that is coming out of Nigeria. What commands premium prices out there is grade A shea butter. And like my colleague said, the very, very rudimentary process of harvesting and partially modifying this shea butter makes it a bit relatively unattractive in world market. So with the development of this council, Mr. President, I believe there will now be dedicated focus on improving the value chain process along the line, which will not only generate a great number of local jobs, but will be enable exporters to command premium prices for grade A shea. And Mr. President, just like countries like Ivory Coast have done with cocoa, I think it's very good from the onset to come up with a set of regulations by this council that will ensure that most of the processing is domesticated here in Nigeria. It used to be that cocoa taken out of Ivory Coast and Ghana at ridiculous prices, when processed into the final product, you find a differential of sometimes up to 1,200%. The same thing happening with shea butter. And I believe that, Mr. President, with the development of a dedicated council to come up with policies and regulations, we'll have a situation where we'll not only assert our dominance in the world market for shea butter, but also have a situation where with backward integration, we create a great amount of local jobs for the benefit of the local women that are now being shortchanged because they don't have the capacity to produce grade A shea butter for export. So I think, Mr. President, this is a bill worth supporting, and I rise to absolutely support and second it. Thank you very much.
Is anybody a bill for an act to establish the National Shea Development Council to supervise and provide guidance for the shea sector and to establish the Shear Institute for the restoration of the shea tree parklands across the shea belt and for value addition to the shea industry 2021 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development report by within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.